Hi guys, very good morning to you. Welcome to the video number 263, and in this video I'm going to actually talk about the what are the input and the message boxes in Excel VBA, right? In fact, it works the same way in the MS Access also. If you know the Access VBA, you can use them after knowing the basics of these two boxes. They are very useful, and you really can't think of the programming without these input and the message boxes, because not only they convey the message to the user, but you can also take the input from the user. So in this video I'm going to talk about that. And for those who are watching the channel for the first time, guys, we have already got 262 amazing videos on the Excel VBA, Access and Access VBA. You just need to click on the playlist, and here I have created all the playlists. So just go there, whatever you want to find it out, you will have it. Just you need to see the subject line, and once you click on that, you would see the video, that playlist will have 10 to 15 videos, and all the videos are actually a mixture of basic and intermediate and advanced level. Like for example, this is the video I'm going to upload today. I'm going to upload this video under this category called Excel VBA input message box, where I have already uploaded two videos long time back. You can see it's video number 100 and 101. So maybe if you want to have a look on these videos, you can watch these videos after watching this one, right? So in this we are going to really talk about the basic level, and I received actually the question, this email from Alex, and I request you guys, just in case if you are comfortable with giving your comments on the YouTube, just below the video, that would be great, because then everybody can see that, right? But just in case if you're not fond of that, obviously you can email me as well. So Alex actually has written this: "Hi Ajay, how are you? Thanks for uploading awesome videos. Really enjoy a lot watching your videos. Thank you so much, Alex. Can you please upload a video on input box and message box, as I always get confused in using them. I tried searching for a video on your channel, but mostly they are used with arrays or loops. Can you please give us a fresh video from the very basic level?" And yes, I really learned loops from your channel videos. Good to find the basic videos there. Well, I'm glad that you like the channel so much and it is helping you. Indeed, it's a great compliment for me. Thank you so much, Alex. Wishing you success and keep up the great work. Well, as long as you guys keep on writing me, I think I'm always charged up, right? And it always actually pushes me to upload the beautiful videos. All right, so having this question from Alex, guys, today we are going to talk about what are the actually input and the message box, and this is going to be extremely very basic video. I'm going to start it from the very scratch. If you know this, what are the input boxes and message boxes, maybe you don't like to really invest your time over here on this video, but for those who are watching the channel for the first time, or maybe who are beginner or who know the VBA but not really so well, I have a lot of things to discuss today about the message boxes and input box, and indeed I'll try my best to give you all the information. Okay, so let's go to the developer tab. Now the first thing which you need to understand, let's talk about the message box first, guys. Now message box is very simple. Message box basically we use to give the information to the user. For example, if I just create here, let's say message box macro. Now how the message box works: now when you write the message box, this is how you write. This is called the VBA function message box, and you get to see different parameters. You see that I'm on the prompt, and then the button, then comma title, then comma help file and context. So the moment you press comma, you would be getting on all the parameters. You can see that I'm pressing the comma and help file is now bold, which means that I'm on the help file, then the context is there, and thereafter there's no parameter. So you can definitely use the commas as well, but generally the message box we use for the prompt means what exactly you would like to display. So let's say I want to display it as hello, just a simple word, right? I'm not going to use any buttons as of now. Let's just keep it simple, the prompt, and that's it. These are all the optional parameters, title, head file and all that stuff. So I just keep it like this. Now what happens when you run the macro, let me press F8. This is how it works, right? You get to see the hello, and by default you will have the OK button. But sometimes what happens in the real programming world, you really don't have to, you have to be dependent upon the other buttons as well. Like for example, what if you want the OK, cancel, there are a lot of buttons actually, the styles. So what you can do, instead of when you have written this hello, when you press the comma, you get to see here a lot of buttons. You can see that it says abort and retry, ignore, then there are critical button, default buttons. So there are a lot of buttons actually. So let me pick any of the button. For example, let's pick up this VBA yes, no, cancel. So when you click on this, now if you run the macro, see what happens. This is really wonderful. You get to see hello, and you get to see yes, no, and cancel, and based on these messages you can actually program the things. For example, what if you want to run a macro when user clicks yes, and what if you want to run the macro when user clicks no, and what if you want to cancel the macro when you actually click on the cancel. So that I'm going to tell you in a while, right? So these are the two parameters which we have used. One is to display the message, and to what kind of a button you want. Now for example, if I just like to change the button, I can do that. For example, if you go ahead and let's say you just create only OK and cancel, then that is also possible. You just run it and there we go, we have only OK and cancel. So I mean, it depends upon your creativity. Not exactly I would say the creativity, because it is hardly anything there to create. Everything is already inbuilt, you just need to use it. But I think it's a situational thing, right? So there is another parameter, guys. When you press comma, you see the title. So I use the title as well. For example, you can write here that read me carefully, okay, or maybe anything you want to write, put it within the quotes, but right, help file context, these are not really required. So when you press F8, you see that the title, which previously was coming as Microsoft Excel, it's coming as now read me carefully. So this is what exactly we need, right? So this is your message box. Now message boxes most of the time are not just to give you a hello or greeting. No, not exactly, right? Most of the time you use the message boxes to give the information in terms of, like, if you're calculating something. For example, let me give you a very simple example. Let's say you write here dim I as long, and there is another variable which you declare dim j as long, okay, and there is another variable, let's say k as long. Now what happens, you write here I equals 2, okay, you write here range and the value in the A1 cell, this is going to be equals to this value, and then j equals to range A2 dot value, and then you have another value k, which is going to be a plus I plus j, right? So we're going to write here some values. Let me write here, let's say 3 and 44. Now we want to have some, we want to sum them, and we want to have a message box. So how will you get that? Let me comment this out. We don't need this message box. So this is how you're going to write message box. Now because I need to use the variable, you will not like to put this within the quotes, otherwise it will be treated as a text, right? For example, if I put this in the double quotes and I run this macro now, see guys, what will happen when I run this? Obviously you know that the I will have now value called 33, the j will have a value called 44, and the sum of these two values is going to be 77. So when you run this message box k, it will actually show you k instead of the answer. Why? Because you have written it within the quotes, and something if you write within the quotes, it is going to be considered as a string. There is no difference between this and this, right? But we don't need that. We need the variable, right? The value in the variable. So now if you hit on this F5, this is what you got to see. So this is what we can actually use in this way, right? So not only this, if you change the value here 10 and 44, now the answer would not be 77, right? So if I hit here F5 again, you see that the answer will change, which is 54. And we can also further go ahead and customize this, because right now it's just telling you 54 or 77, but how about giving the answer as well as that some message that from where exactly the message is coming. So that is also something you can do very easily. So what we can do, we can write message box. So you can write here that sum of, let's say, sum of values is, put it within the quotes because this is a message, and then join it with the result called k. So this entire, you can see that I'm still on the prompt. This is still bold. So that means I'm on this parameter. So now when I'm going to run this, see what will happen. This looks really very cool, pretty cool, right? Sum of values is 54, right? And you can further go ahead and do a lot of stuff. For example, you can write that sum of 10 and 44 also you can write. So how are you going to write that? If you just want to do that, it's very simple. What you would do, sum of, you would put it within the quotes and then join it with the I, because I is a variable, and again you will join it with the j, and sum of then this and this 20, let's say 10 and 44 values is, this is what also you can do, right? So it's all up to you. I mean, let me just run this, have a look. Sum of values is 54, so we are not getting that. Oh yeah, so we are getting sum of 10 and 4 values is 54. There is some space problem. So first of all, let me off this, because that is why I got two messages and we need to give a space here. So what we can do, we can do this, we can create the space here, I guess. Let me run this. So we still don't have a space between 10 and 44. So yeah, so that's what exactly you need to create the space. This is how we create the space, guys, right? I'm simply using the AND operator, which is a join function. It is also used in Excel. For example, if you do this and this, what will happen? They will join, they get joined, and the answer is going to be 10 and 44, right? So it exactly works the same way as it works in the Excel. So if you want to create a space, let's say this, and now you want to create space, you would like this. This is how we write the space, and I'm going to select this, and you see that 10 and space and 44, right? Very simple. All right, so this is the same way I have done it in the VBA, and I run this, and let me run this, and let's have a look. All right, so you can see that sum of 10 44 value is 54. I guess we can also write sum of 10 and 44. We can prefix it, we can write here, and this would look good, I guess. So let's just run it, and again you need to create a space. So we're gonna create one more space here. All right, and after the end as well we can create, or I think we can create the space right away here as well, instead of creating another space. I think this is also pretty cool. Okay, so let me just remove this. Let's have a look. I run this, and yes, this is great. Sum of 10 and 44 values is 54. So now if I change anything here, for example, I just write here 2 and 3. Now you see that the answer should automatically change because you are using the variables, right? So there we go. Sum of 3 and 2 values is 5. So this is done, right? So in this way, guys, you can use the message box. Now after this, once we have got this, there are a lot of other things as well you can do in the message boxes. For example, let me just show you how to use the buttons, because right now I'm not using any button. If I click on this macro, you see that it's only display the information OK, but we can give the OK in the cancel options as well. So what I'm supposed to do is I'm going to actually here write another macro. So let's say this is called the sub macro. Let's say I'm just going to name it as T. That's fine. Okay, so in this, now what we will do, I will declare here, let's say dim I as long and I equals to 2, let's say, and we're going to say that message box is now let's say I'm going to write that do you want to run this macro, let's say, or I can say that are you fine with this output. Let's say this is what exactly we want, right? And then I'm going to give the 3 buttons basically, or maybe 2 buttons, OK and cancel, guys, right? So that we should have an option. Now if user selects OK, then the macro should run. If he selects cancel, then macro should not run. So how you gonna define that? So whatever the message box would come, the value of that message box in terms of what the user clicks, whether OK or cancel, that should be stored. So I'm going to write here Z equals to message box like this. Okay, and this message, when you declare any variable and you say that this variable is going to hold the value of the message box, you have to put it within the brackets like this, otherwise you will get the error, right? Now we need to define this Z as well, so I'm just going to define Z. Okay, and as I can define it as long, because message boxes they store the value in the numbers. Now here we can write if Z equals to VBS. It means if the button they click yes, then what should happen? Then let me declare a message box, you clicked yes, or you can also call the another macro. That's all up to you. Okay, else means if you would have clicked the another option, then obviously we can say that message box operation cancelled like this. Okay, and you can say that end if, you can write here end if, and there we go. All right, now let's run this. So I'm going to run this. Let's quickly run F8. There we go. Are you fine with this output? I say yes. Okay, now you see what is the value in the Z. Now Z value is equals to 1. Now 1 means actually VBS, right? So now it says that operation cancel, so it's not giving you, I think, the correct value. Let's have a look again. I press OK. My mistake, guys, because you see actually VBS holds 6 value, whereas your Z holds 1. And why? Because it's not VBS. Okay, I should have written a VB OK, because we are not using actually yes and cancel button, right? So that's what I actually want. And let me reset the code, and now let us run this. Are you fine with this output? Yes, I'm fine. Now have a look. VB OK is also 1 and the Z is also 1. 1 means actually he pressed OK. So there we go. You clicked yes and the macro stops, right? So instead of VB OK, you can also write 1 if you remember the button value, because VB OK actually is equals to 1. So it's very hard for me to remember, so that's why, you know, I use, but ultimately the output is same. Now if you're really interested in knowing the which actually message box this button gives you which value, so you can do one thing. You can just select this and press F1. Okay, because F1 is the VBA help. Like in Excel also you use the F1 on the function, so in the VBA also you use the F1. So when you click on the F1, the window would come. So there we go, it's populating, and I'll show you. This is very useful information. So I'm going to talk about the buttons, what you know, which value actually they hold. So guys, this is exactly message box, prompt, button title, everything. You can read out all this information, right? But I have already explained it, so you can just go through it quickly. But this is very important for you. This is what exactly I was talking about, right? These are the values: VB, OK, cancel, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now these are the values given to the buttons. So when you write here VB, OK, cancel, instead of this VB, OK, cancel, you can also write 1. That would mean the same thing, right? The code works the same way, but I prefer this VB OK cancel, because so that in my absence, if somebody reads the code, then they should be able to see that, all right, so I'm using the VB, I'm using the 2 buttons in this message box, which is called OK and cancel. And in fact, I also, as I said, I don't really remember these were numbers, you know. It really takes a lot of practice, but then writing like this, you know, it's always going to help me a lot, being that I'm using the OK and cancel. But otherwise, if you want to use 1, or if you have seen somebody who has used 1, then don't be surprised, because that's almost the same thing. And these all buttons have these values, right? Now when you use it in the if function, that whatever the output is user is going to, you know, give you by selecting OK, cancel, or yes, no, whatever the button, you know, if you're actually popping up, the value which you get in this variable, that is going to be decided if you just scroll it down here. Look at this. This is what exactly we are able to see. Now VB OK is 1, and that's what I was talking about, that you can also write here Z equals to 1, because when you run this, you see what happens. You have the OK and cancel. So VB OK means OK button. So if I click on the OK, the Z will have the 1 value, right? So you can also write Z equals to 1, but I again prefer that I should be writing VB OK. And if it is VB, if the buttons are, you know, VB yes, no, cancel, then you can write VB yes, VB no, and, you know, sort of that stuff. But the if you go to the help, you will see all the numbers, right? You can use them. All right, so let me just close this and come back to this. So now this is the way, you know, you actually can use the things. Now if I run this again and I cancel on this, let's have a look. Now what is the value in the Z? You see that the value in the Z is 2, because VB actually cancel holds 2. So obviously this is not going to be 2, and they will say that operation cancelled. Once the operation is cancelled, you can immediately exit from the macro also, right? So if I just rerun this, this is how the macro runs, finishes. Because, you know, sometimes what happens, you also like to execute a lot of things. For example, if you write here something, let me write here a message box called hi, let's say, you know, or you can write the program as well. I mean, generally we write the macros, we write whatever we want to do. But if you just like run it, I just want to explain you what happens. You see, when I click on the OK, this goes in the if mode, and obviously we will have the message box. You click the yes, and once it click the yes, it will go and further execute the lines after the end if. So if you have a bunch of lines, chunk of lines over there, you know, they all will be executed, right? Because user has pressed yes. But if I Cancelled it, let me rerun this. If I cancel it, obviously then I'm not interested in running the macro, right? Or maybe there is a condition which is not satisfied and I am clicking no. Then what happens when you click on the cancel, then you get to see operation cancelled, and after operation cancelled, if you don't write the exit sub, then what will happen, this the code which you have written after the end if, that will also be executed. So there is no point of running the macro when the user presses OK and when the user presses cancel, right? So in the both scenarios, you really don't like to run the macro, especially in the cancel case. So in the cancel, you write exit sub so that the macro immediately should stop. So this is how you can actually, guys, use the message box. Now coming back to the input box. Now input box are we write the we give the input boxes when actually we want to get the input from the user. Now for example, let me just write here input box method. There is a difference between the input and the message. Input box just takes the input from you, they don't display the message, right? So if let's say I want to say dim I as long and dim j as long and dim k as long, right? Now I don't want to be dependent upon these two values. I want to get the pop-up, and in the pop-up whatever the user writes, that should go. So how are you going to do that? You will write I equals to input box and then you start the bracket, and in the prompt you write enter number 1, let's say value 1. Okay, that's it. Put it in the quotes. So here also you get to see the prompt, right? Now in this, the difference between the input and the message box is you don't see the buttons, because in input box you don't really require those buttons. You just need to click on the, you just need to enter the value and click on the OK, right? So what is the title? Let me give it my name. Let's say default is something that which should come there, right? The default, for example, if I want to write here default as 100, let's say, then that is going to come as 100. X position, Y position, well, you really don't need that, but I'm going to tell you, it is just to give you the direction, the movement of input box. Right now let's just click like this. All right, so now when you run this, see what will happen. This is what exactly input box says. You have the OK and the cancel. If you cancel it, cancel. If you press OK, then this is how the value would come. So I am by default 100 value is coming. I can change it to 2. I can press OK, and once you press OK, this will take, you can see that I is going to take that value. So in this way we can use the input box. So what is the next thing I want to do? Obviously let's have a J. In the J also we are going to write same thing. And so if you want to leave this 100, you can leave this, no problem. You just don't want to give any default value, just keep it like this. Okay, and finally I'm going to say that I plus j. Okay, and then once you have this value, you can use the message box back again. So you can write here that final sum is, and you can put the I k. So now this code actually talks about not only the input box, but by taking the input values, it is also helping you out in conveying and giving the message actually. So we are using the message box, so we can use very wisely the combination of input and message boxes. So when you run this, the first pop-up comes. So let's say let me keep it 100 only, and then the another pop-up, you see now there is no 100 because I haven't kept any default values. I'm just gonna write 2. So now if you run this further, you will have 102, and which is going to be used like this, right? So this is how you can actually use the input box, guys. That's the difference between the input box and the message box. Now not only this, you can also do one thing. Let's say if I click on the cancel, when I run this, let me run this, you see that I write here 22, and what if I cancel it? Let me cancel this. The moment you cancel it, it is automatically going to be cancelled, right? It is going to be cancelled. So in that way you can also write the program here. For example, if I click on this input box and I take you to the input box help, let me press F1. So there we go. Let us see now what all the parameters, I mean how they have actually defined it. It's taking little time. Let's just wait. I think it's not coming yet. Yeah, it's coming. I don't know why it is so slow. Okay. Yeah, so you can see that all the prompt title, default, X position, Y position, help file context, I never used it, really not required. So this is how, you know, all the things are there. You can see that the title is there, default, set default value. So you can read it out, guys, you know, it is really going to help you a lot. Now this is called the X position, 100 and 100 from the X position, 100 from the Y position. So it actually is going to change the position of your this, basically the code, right? So you really don't have to use the if the I equals to, because you know I is always going to hold a value which user will enter, right? So what you can do is you can put the, you know, message box in the beginning to exit from the macro. For example, you can write here that message box, and you can write here, are you sure you want to run? Okay, and then you can write the VB and OK and cancel, right? So you can say that VB and OK cancel, right? And then what you can do, obviously you need to store this information somewhere. So let me just declare it as BB equals to this, and you put it within the brackets. So what if user clicks on the cancel, then nothing, no pop-up should come. This is what exactly we want to do, right? So you just declare it dim BB as long, and we're going to say that if BB equals to, if VB equals to VB OK, then it should go further and do all the stuff. Okay, else exit the sub. So nothing should come actually. So this is how, guys, you can use if condition as well with this. So we have used the if condition, we have used the message box very nicely with the input box. Now what happens when you run this, block if without end if. All right, I'm so sorry, I just forgot to write the end if. So this is how the code works. Okay, and I can take this little up like this, and can put the indenting here as well. So let's just go ahead and run this. Now you see, are you sure you want to run? I say cancel. So if you cancel it, you see that it goes in the else and the macro stops. There we go, very nice. If I press, let's say yes, I want to run it, right? So there we go. Now if you pressed OK, then you will have the two input boxes coming. This is the one, so I just press 1, let's say I enter the 1 and OK, and then you have the another value called 2. So 1 plus 2 will make it what? You know the result, right? It's going to give you sum 3, right? So if you're going to connect it with the button, it looks really very classy. For example, I just go to the insert, and we're gonna create this, and now I'm going to assign the macro. So input box method, let's say this is the one. Okay, so I hit here, I cancel, you see the macro gone, right? Very nice. If I click yes, and yes, I want to run, and I say that this is the value 111, I press enter, and then again 111, I press enter, and the sum is 222. So in this way you can use the input boxes, message boxes, and their combination as well. And when you actually especially you know, include the if conditions, they really work very nice, right? So this is all the, you know, the basic things about the input boxes and the message boxes, guys. And you can leave your comments, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, I request you to subscribe to the channel and take the benefit of all those 262 videos, amazing videos. And I will be back very soon. Hope you enjoyed this session. Thank you so much, guys. Bye bye.